The van was doing 90 on the highway. Russian mobsters had me trapped in the back, and I was watching the man I loved chase us down while bleeding from a gunshot wound to the chest. 3 hours ago, I thought I knew the truth. I thought the baby I was carrying might not be Domenico Salvatore's. I thought I was saving my grandmother by surrendering to his enemies. I thought I understood who was hunting me and why. I was wrong about everything. My name is Peyton Brooks, and this is part 2 of how I became the most wanted woman in New York. Not because of the baby growing inside me, but because someone wanted to destroy the most dangerous mafia king in America, and I was the perfect weapon. The high-speed chase? That was just the beginning. What came next made everything else look like a warm-up. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, stop right now and go watch it first. The link is in the pinned comment below. Because what I'm about to tell you won't make sense unless you know how Domenico and I got here. You need to understand the one-night stand, the accidental pregnancy, the hospital mix-up, Gabriel's betrayal, and how we ended up in this nightmare. Seriously, go watch part 1 now, then come back. I'll wait. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to do that now because you aren't ready for what comes next. For those who already binged part 1 and have been waiting to find out what happens next, buckle up. Because the truth is so much worse than either of us imagined. The van hit a pothole, and I slammed into the metal wall. My hands were zip-tied behind my back. My mouth was duct-taped, and I was watching through the back window as Domenico's SUV closed the distance between us. He was alive. I'd watched him get shot, watched him fall, watched blood spread across his white shirt. But there he was, visible through the windshield of the lead vehicle, covered in blood but very much alive and absolutely murderous. "He's gaining," one of Nikolai's men said in Russian. I'd picked up enough from listening to them that I could understand the basics. "Shoot out his tires," another responded. Volkov said not to kill him, just slow him down. A third man, the one driving, laughed. "Good luck with that. Salvatore doesn't slow down. He's fucking immortal." The driver wasn't wrong. I watched as Domenico's SUV pulled alongside a van full of his enemies, and one of his men leaned out the window with an automatic weapon. The sound of gunfire was deafening even through the metal walls of my prison. The Russian van swerved, crashed into a barrier, and Domenico's convoy kept coming. "We're not going to make it to the airfield," the driver said, and I heard real fear in his voice. The man guarding me, thick accent, scar across his face, hands like baseball mitts, pulled out his phone and called someone. "We have a problem," he said in Russian. "Salvatore is..." He stopped. "Listening. I understand. Yes. I'll tell the driver." He hung up and barked an order. "Head to the warehouse district in Brooklyn. Volkov has reinforcements waiting there." Brooklyn. We were going back to where this nightmare had started. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't find out until later, was that Domenico had been wearing a bulletproof vest under his shirt. The bullet had hit the vest dead center, cracked 3 ribs, caused internal bruising that would hurt for weeks, but it hadn't penetrated. He'd gone down because the impact had knocked the wind out of him. Stayed down long enough for Nikolai's men to think he was dying. Then he'd gotten up, commandeered every vehicle and soldier in a 5-mile radius, and come after me. Rosa told me later that when he'd regained consciousness and realized I was gone, he'd let out a roar that made grown men flinch. "Get her back," he'd said. Just 3 words. But the way he'd said them, like a man who'd burn the world to ash if necessary, had sent every single one of his soldiers running for their weapons. The van screeched around a corner into Brooklyn's warehouse district. Abandoned buildings loomed on either side. This was the kind of neighborhood where bad things happened and nobody called the police. We pulled into a massive warehouse, the same one I'd been dragged to before. I realized with growing horror, the doors had barely closed behind us when I heard it. The sound of multiple vehicles surrounding the building. Domenico had followed us right into the trap. The man guarding me yanked me to my feet, pulled the duct tape off my mouth so roughly I tasted blood. "Make a sound and I'll hurt you," he warned. I was done being quiet. "Domenico!" I screamed with everything I had. "It's a trap. Get out." The man backhanded me hard enough that I saw stars, but I'd been heard. Through the warehouse walls, I heard tires screeching, orders being shouted, the sound of men taking defensive positions, then silence. Terrible, suffocating silence. "Nikolai Volkov." Domenico's voice echoed through the warehouse, amplified somehow. A megaphone maybe. "You have 3 seconds to send Peyton out, or I'm coming in, and I won't be polite about it." 3 seconds? Nikolai's voice came from somewhere in the shadows. I couldn't see him, but I could hear the smile. "You're not in a position to make demands, Salvatore. 1. I have 30 men in this warehouse. You're outnumbered. 2. I have the woman. You come in. I kill her. Is she worth dying for? Domenico's answer sent chills down my spine. 3. The warehouse doors exploded inward. Not metaphorically. Actual explosives. The metal doors flew off their hinges, and Domenico's forces poured in like a tidal wave. Gunfire erupted. Men screamed. Chaos consumed everything. My guard dragged me backward, using me as a human shield. I felt the cold metal of his gun pressed against my temple. "Drop your weapons!" he shouted. "Drop them or I kill her!" The shooting stopped. Domenico stood 50 feet away, gun raised, blood soaking through his white shirt, ribs clearly killing him with every breath. But his eyes, God, his eyes were calm, focused, lethal. "Let her go," he said quietly, too quietly. The kind of quiet that came before apocalyptic violence. "Put down your gun first." Domenico didn't hesitate. He set his gun on the ground. "Kick it away." He did. "Now the others. Tell your men to drop their weapons." Domenico gave the order. His men lowered their guns but didn't drop them. I said drop them. "Do it," Domenico commanded. Slowly, reluctantly, weapons hit the concrete floor. My guard's grip on me loosened slightly. He thought he'd won. That was his mistake. I drove my head backward into his nose with every ounce of strength I had. Felt cartilage crunch, heard him scream. His gun went off, the bullet went wild, hitting the ceiling. I dropped to my knees, and Domenico moved. I'd never seen anyone move that fast. 1 second he was standing across the warehouse. The next he was on my guard, snapping his neck with his bare hands. The man dropped like a puppet with cut strings. "Peyton!" Domenico grabbed me, cut my zip ties with a knife I didn't see him pull. "Are you hurt?" "The baby. We're fine. We're okay." I threw my arms around him. "You're alive. Oh my God, you're alive. Takes more than a bullet to kill me, Bella." He kissed my forehead, my cheeks, my lips. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you. Nobody move." We both froze. Nikolai Volkov stood on a catwalk above us, gun pointed down. Not at Domenico. At me. "Drop the knife, Salvatore. Step away from the girl." Domenico's body went rigid, but he did what Nikolai demanded. Smart man. Nikolai descended the metal stairs slowly. "Now, let's all calm down and talk about this like civilized people." "You kidnapped a pregnant woman," Domenico said, voice like death. "We're past civilized. I retrieved stolen property. There's a difference." Nikolai reached the ground floor. Gun still trained on me. "The embryo, miss, Brooks's carrying was stolen from my genetic vault in Moscow, worth $50 million. I want it back." "The baby isn't yours," I said. "Says who? The genetic tests from Salvatore's doctor? Tests that were conveniently redone at the last minute?" Nikolai's smile was cold. "I'm not an idiot, Miss Brooks. I know Domenico would say anything to keep you compliant." Domenico's face went absolutely white, and I realized he didn't know for sure either. Dr. Vitale had said he'd gotten full results, but Domenico had been shot before he could explain what they meant. "The baby is mine," Domenico said, but I heard the uncertainty underneath. "Prove it," Nikolai challenged. "I don't have to prove anything to you." "Then I'm taking Miss Brooks until a neutral third party can verify paternity. If the child is yours, I'll return her. If it's mine..." His smile widened. "Then she's carrying the Volkov heir, and I will take what belongs to me. Over my dead body. That can be arranged." Nikolai's gun didn't waver. "But it doesn't have to end this way. I'm proposing a truce. Peyton comes with me. We do a paternity test. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize and compensate you both generously. If I'm right..." "You're not right," I interrupted. "The baby is Domenico's." "I know it is." "How?" Nikolai asked. "How do you know?" "Because..." I stopped. How did I know? I'd been told by Dr. Vitale. But Dr. Vitale worked for Domenico, and the first test had shown anomalies, and the second test had come right when I needed reassurance most. Doubt crept in like poison. What if Domenico had lied? What if the baby really wasn't his, and he'd manufactured test results to keep me from leaving? I looked at him, and saw my doubt reflected in his eyes. "Peyton," he said quietly. "I would never." His phone rang. Everyone froze. Domenico pulled it out slowly, looked at the screen. "It's Dr. Vitale." "Answer it," Nikolai said. "Put it on speaker." Domenico did. "Don Salvatore." Dr. Vitale's voice came through, shaking. "I got the final results back. The comprehensive genetic sequencing. You need to hear this." "I'm listening." The baby Miss Brooks is carrying, there's no question. No anomalies, no doubt. A pause. It's yours, sir. Definitively. 100% genetic match. The previous irregularities were caused by static. Then a different voice. Female. Cold. Hello, Domenico. Domenico's face went white. Katerina. Surprise. Katerina's voice purred through the speaker. Did you miss me? What did you do to Dr. Vitale? Domenico demanded. He's alive. For now. Whether he stays that way depends on whether you're willing to listen to what I have to say. I'm listening. Good. Because I'm about to save you from making a catastrophic mistake. I heard papers shuffling. The genetic test Dr. Vitale was about to share with you? It's real. The baby is yours, Domenico. It always was. Nikolai's gun lowered slightly. What? The embryo theft from Moscow? The anonymous tip that led you to believe your genetic material had been implanted in Miss Brooks? All fabricated. By me. Katerina laughed. I needed you two at war. I needed you destroying each other. And you fell for it beautifully. Why? Domenico's voice was lethal. Because I wanted what you have. The Salvatore Empire. The Volkov territory. Both families so busy killing each other that neither would notice me taking everything from the inside. She paused. I've spent 6 years planning this, Domenico. 6 years building alliances, blackmailing the right people, positioning my pieces. Your grandfather's death? Not natural. I poisoned him to accelerate the timeline. My blood ran cold. The genetic screening anomalies? I had someone hack Dr. Vitale's system, alter the initial results just enough to create doubt. Then I fed Nikolai information about a stolen embryo, his embryo, supposedly that had been implanted in the wrong woman. He did exactly what I knew he would. Came for you both. Domenico looked like he wanted to put his fist through a wall. Where are you? Somewhere you can't reach. Yet. But don't worry, we'll see each other soon. I have more plans for you. Her voice turned sharp. Nikolai, if you're listening, you might want to check your Moscow facility. The embryo you thought was stolen? Still in storage. Perfectly safe. You've been chasing ghosts. Nikolai pulled out his phone with his free hand, made a call, barked orders in Russian, waited. His face went white. They're still there. All the samples. Nothing was stolen. Exactly, Katerina said. I invented a theft, complete with false security footage, to make you paranoid. Then I pointed you at Domenico. You did the rest. You made me kidnap an innocent woman, Nikolai said, and for the first time, I heard genuine regret in his voice. I made you predictable. You're welcome to try for revenge, but you'll never find me. I'm 10 steps ahead of both of you. Always have been. She paused. Oh. And Peyton? That text you got from Kay warning you not to trust anyone? That was me too. I wanted you confused, scared, doubting everyone, including Domenico. Did it work? I couldn't speak. Couldn't process that everything, every moment of fear, every doubt, every terrible choice had been orchestrated by one woman. I'll leave you all to sort out this mess, Katerina continued. But remember, Domenico, I'm not done with you. Not even close. Enjoy your little family while you can. It won't last. The line went dead. Silence filled the warehouse. Then Nikolai lowered his gun completely. I owe you an apology, he said to me. I was played. We all were. Apology noted, Domenico said coldly. But if you ever come near her again, I won't. You have my word. Nikolai holstered his weapon. And for what it's worth, Salvatore, you have impressive security. I had to call in favors from 6 countries just to track her movements. How did she fake the embryo theft? Hacked our security systems. Created false records. Paid off 3 of my guards. By the time I realized something was wrong, the theft had already been reported to our board. I had to act. You could have called me. And say what? Sorry, I think someone's playing us both. Let's be friends? You would have shot me on sight. Nikolai actually smiled. Though I respect the attempt to negotiate, Domenico pulled me close. Get out of my city, Volkov. Before I remember, I'm still angry. Fair enough. Nikolai signaled his men. We're leaving. But Salvatore? When you find Katerina and you will find her, call me. I'd like to be there when she pays for this. I work alone. Not this time. She made fools of us both. We settle this together. Nikolai extended his hand. Domenico looked at it for a long moment, then shook it. One-time alliance. For Katerina only. Agreed. Nikolai and his men left, disappearing into the Brooklyn night like ghosts. The moment they were gone, Domenico collapsed. Domenico. I caught him, but his weight nearly took me down. I'm fine, he gasped, but he clearly wasn't. Just the ribs, and the blood loss, and you got shot. Vest caught most of it, but it still hurts like hell. He touched my face. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? I'm fine, the baby's fine, but you need a hospital. No hospitals. Too many people asking questions. He straightened with obvious effort. Get me to the car. I have a doctor on call. His men helped him to the SUV. I climbed in beside him, and we drove back to the Hamptons estate. Dr. Vitali was waiting, shaken but unhurt. I'm so sorry, he said immediately. Katerina had someone break into my office. They held a gun to my head until she got what she wanted. She made me call you. It's not your fault, Domenico said. But I need you to confirm something. Right now. The baby is mine? 100% yours. I have the comprehensive genetic panel here. He pulled out paperwork. Every marker matches. The anomalies I saw weeks ago were caused by a virus someone introduced into my computer system. It altered the data just enough to raise questions. But the source DNA was always yours. Domenico closed his eyes. When he opened them again, they were wet. You're sure? Completely sure. That baby is a Salvatore. No doubt whatsoever. He looked at me, and I saw every wall he'd ever built come crashing down. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about the anomalies sooner. I was afraid. I know. I took his hand. You were afraid I'd leave. You were afraid I'd think the baby wasn't yours and take the money and disappear. I couldn't lose you again. I'd just found you. You're not losing me. I pressed his hand to my stomach. This is your son. Our son. And nobody, not Katerina, not Nikolai, nobody is taking him from us. Our son, he repeated, like he was testing the words. Leo Salvatore Brooks. He pulled me into his arms, careful of his injured ribs, and kissed me like I was oxygen. I love you, he said against my lips. I've loved you since that first night. I'll love you until my last breath. And I will kill anyone who tries to take you from me. I love you too, I whispered back, even though you're violent and possessive and absolutely insane. Especially because I'm those things. Especially because... Dr. Vitali cleared his throat. I hate to interrupt, but Don Salvatore, you need medical attention. Now. Domenico let me go reluctantly. Fine, but Peyton stays with me. I'm not going anywhere, I promised. While Dr. Vitali worked on Domenico's ribs and checked for internal bleeding, my phone buzzed. A call from Sloan Kettering. My heart stopped. Graham, I answered with shaking hands. Hello? Miss Brooks? This is Dr. Martinez. I wanted to call personally to give you the good news. Good news? Your grandmother's latest scans came back. The cancer is in remission. Complete remission. We're not saying she's cured, it's too early for that, but the experimental treatment worked better than we could have hoped. I started crying. She's going to be okay? She's going to be okay. We'd like to keep her for another week of observation, but then she can go home. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hung up and looked at Domenico. Graham's in remission. I heard. He smiled despite the pain. See? I told you I'd save her. You saved all of us. Rosa appeared in the doorway with soup. Enough drama for one day. You both need to eat, rest, and stop trying to die. Yes, ma'am, Domenico said meekly. I'd never heard him sound meek before. Rosa set down the tray and looked at me with warm eyes. I'm glad you're safe, Miss Peyton. This house was too quiet without you. Thank you, Rosa. After she left, Domenico said, She likes you. Rosa doesn't like anyone. Maybe I'm special. You're special. You're mine. There was that possessiveness again. It should have annoyed me. Instead, it made me feel safer than I'd felt in weeks. We still have a problem, I said. Katerina is out there, planning something. I know. But tonight, we rest. Tomorrow, we hunt. He pulled me close. Together. I agreed. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I actually believed we'd survive it. The next morning, Domenico's tech team found the security footage. We gathered in his office. Me, Domenico, still bandaged but refusing to rest, Isabel, and 3 men I didn't know but who apparently ran his cyber operations. We traced the hack on Dr. Vitali's system, one of them said, pulling up code on a massive screen. The virus was sophisticated, military grade. It took us all night to track the origin point. And? Domenico asked. Sicily. Specifically, a server farm outside Palermo registered to Lombardi Industries. Domenico's jaw tightened. Katerina's family. It gets worse. Another screen appeared, this one showing surveillance footage. This is from 3 months ago. Dr. Vitali's office. We watched as a figure in a maintenance uniform entered after hours, went straight to Dr. Vitali's computer, and inserted a flash drive. "Can you enhance the face?" Domenico asked. "Already did." The image zoomed in, sharpened. My breath caught. It wasn't Katerina. It was Isabel. "No," I whispered. Domenico turned to Isabel, who'd gone pale. "Explain. Now." I can explain. You have 10 seconds before I lose my temper." Isabel's composure cracked. "She made me. Katerina. She has something on me. Information that could destroy my family. She said if I didn't help her, she'd leak everything." "What information?" "My brother. He's been embezzling from the family business. Millions of dollars. If it comes out, my father will kill him. Literally kill him." Tears streamed down her face. She said all I had to do was plant the virus. I didn't know what it would do. I swear I didn't know. "You've been working for me for 5 years, Domenico said quietly. Too quietly. 5 years of trust, of access to everything I built. And you betrayed me for her. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this." He looked at his men. "Take her downstairs. I'll deal with her later." "Domenico, please." Isabel reached for him. "I can help you find Katerina. I know where she is." That stopped him. "Where?" "Sicily. She's at her family's estate. She's been there the whole time, watching everything unfold through cameras and hacked systems." Isabel was talking fast, desperate. "She has guards, a lot of them. But I know the layout. I can get you in." "Why would you help me now?" "Because I'm done being her puppet. Because what she's doing is wrong. Because..." Isabel looked at me. "Because you have something worth fighting for. And I threw away everything for a woman who doesn't care about anyone but herself." Domenico studied her for a long moment. Then, "You help me get to Katerina. I'll consider letting you live. Betray me again. And there's nowhere in this world you can hide. Understood?" "Understood. Take her to the safe room. Keep her under guard." He waited until his men had escorted Isabel out, then turned to me. "Pack a bag. Where are we going?" "Sicily. To end this. I'm coming with you." "Absolutely not. You're pregnant. It's too dangerous." "Domenico, she's doing this because of me. I'm not hiding while you walk into danger." "Peyton, I'm coming with you," I said firmly. "You can argue, you can forbid it, you can lock me in this house. But the moment you leave, I'll find a way to follow. So we can do this together, or we can waste time fighting about it. Your choice." He stared at me. Then, slowly, he smiled. "You're impossible. You love me anyway. God help me I do." He pulled me close. "Fine. You come to Sicily. But you stay in the safe house until Katerina is handled. Non-negotiable." "Deal." We left that night. Private plane to Palermo. Domenico brought 20 men soldiers, he called them, though they looked more like an army. Isabel came too, handcuffed and guarded, but providing intel. "Katerina has been planning this for years," she said during the flight. "She was supposed to marry you when you turned 21. Your grandfather and hers arranged it when you were children." "I know the story," Domenico said coldly. "But did you know she's been in love with you since she was 16? Obsessed with you. When you refused the marriage, when you told her you'd never love her, something broke inside her." Isabel hesitated. "She said if she couldn't have you, she'd destroy you. This whole plan, the embryo theft, the war with Nikolai, everything, it was her twisted revenge." "Revenge for what?" "I never led her on. I made it clear from the beginning that I wouldn't marry her. You existed," Isabel said simply. "You were powerful and handsome and completely unattainable. She wanted you, and you didn't want her. For someone like Katerina, that was unforgivable." "She's insane," I said. "She's a Lombardi. In their world, insanity and ambition look very similar." We landed in Palermo at midnight. The city was beautiful, ancient buildings lit up against the night sky, the smell of the sea, the sound of Italian filling the air. But we didn't stop to sightsee. Domenico's men drove us to a safe house on the outskirts of the city, a villa with high walls and security that would make Fort Knox jealous. "You stay here," Domenico said. "Rosa is already inside. She'll take care of you." "When do you leave?" "An hour." We hit Katerina's estate at 2 a.m. when security is lightest. And then what? Then I make her pay for every lie she told. Every life she endangered. Every moment of pain she caused you. His eyes were black ice. She wanted war. She's going to get one. I grabbed his hand. Be careful. Always. Come back to me. Nothing in this world could keep me from you. He kissed me deep and desperate and like it might be the last time. Then he was gone. I stood at the window watching his convoy disappear into the night, one hand on my stomach where Leo was growing. He'll come back, Rosa said from behind me. He always does. You sound very sure. I've known that boy since he was 15 years old. I've seen him survive things that would kill ordinary men. She put a gentle hand on my shoulder. He'll come back because he has you to come back to. That's the difference. What do you mean? Before you, he was just surviving, going through the motions, building an empire because it was expected, not because he cared. She smiled. But you gave him something to live for, something more than power and revenge. You gave him hope. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just stood at the window and waited. At 2:37 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Domenico. We're inside. Katerina's here. She's not going quietly. Another text. I love you. No matter what happens. That last message sent fear through my veins. Rosa. Something's wrong. He's just being careful. Gunfire erupted in the distance. Not close, but close enough that we could hear it echoing across the hills. That's coming from the Lombardy estate, Rosa said, face pale. More gunfire. An explosion. Screaming. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Peyton, Katerina's voice. I'm so glad you came to Sicily. It saves me the trouble of hunting you down. Where's Domenico? Busy. He thought he was attacking my estate, but I've been watching his every move since he landed. The estate he's assaulting right now? Empty. I evacuated hours ago. She laughed. But I left him a present. Let's see if he's smart enough to find it before it explodes. My blood turned to ice. What did you do? What I do best. Planned ahead. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk out of that safe house. You're going to get in the car that's waiting outside. And you're going to come meet me. Alone. And if I don't? Then the bombs I planted in Domenico's attack site will detonate in, I heard clicking, 8 minutes, killing him and 20 of his best men. Your choice, Peyton. Your life for his. What's it going to be? I looked at Rosa, who was already shaking her head, but I knew what I had to do. I'm coming. Smart girl. The car is black. License plate LOM 2847. Driver knows where to take you. Oh, and Peyton? What? Come alone. If I see any of Domenico's men, I detonate the bombs immediately. Tick, tock. The line went dead. You're not seriously considering this, Rosa said. She has bombs. She'll kill him. She's bluffing. What if she's not? I was already grabbing my coat. I can't risk it. I can't let him die because of me. Peyton, think. This is exactly what she wants. She'll kill you both. Then I'll make sure she doesn't get the chance. I headed for the door. Rosa blocked my path. I can't let you do this. You don't have a choice. I made a promise to Domenico to keep you safe. And I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't let the man I love die. I looked at her steadily. Move, Rosa, please. She stared at me for a long moment. Then, incredibly, she stepped aside. You're either very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Take this. She pressed a small knife into my hand. It's not much, but it's sharp. And Peyton? Yeah? Aim for the throat. I nodded and ran out into the night. The black car was waiting exactly where Katerina said it would be. The driver didn't speak, just gestured for me to get in. I climbed into the back seat, and we drove into the darkness. My phone buzzed. A text from Domenico. Where are you? Rosa says you left the safe house. I couldn't respond. Couldn't tell him where I was going without risking Katerina detonating those bombs. So, I sent back. Trust me, I love you. Another text. Peyton. Tell me where you are. Now. Then. Fuck. I'm coming for you. I turned off my phone. The car drove for 20 minutes, winding through narrow streets and up into the hills until we reached a villa that made Domenico's estate look modest. Katerina's real home. The driver opened my door. Armed guards flanked the entrance. I walked inside with my head high and Rosa's knife hidden in my pocket. The interior was obscene. Marble everywhere. Gold fixtures. Art that probably belonged in museums. The kind of wealth that had been accumulating for centuries. And in the center of a massive living room, sitting on a white sofa like a queen on a throne, Katerina Lombardi. She was beautiful in a cold, untouchable way. Dark hair, sharp features, designer everything. The kind of woman who'd never been told no in her entire life. Peyton Brooks. She gestured to a chair across from her. Please sit. We have so much to discuss. Where are the bombs? Straight to business. I like that. She poured wine into 2 glasses. The bombs are very real, but they're not set to go off for another hour. Plenty of time for us to chat. I don't want to chat. I want you to disarm them. In exchange for what? Me. You let Domenico go. You disarm the bombs. You can have me. Katerina laughed. Oh, darling, I don't want you. You're a means to an end, a weapon to break Domenico. Nothing more. Then what do you want? I want him to suffer. She stood, walked to the window. Do you know what it's like to love someone for 10 years and have them look through you like you're invisible? To be the perfect wife, beautiful, educated, connected, and be rejected anyway? He never loved you. He never even gave me a chance. She spun around, and I saw real pain in her eyes. I would have been good to him. I would have built an empire with him. We would have been unstoppable together. But he refused, said he'd never marry someone he didn't love. And then, her face twisted, then he met you. A nobody. An American with no family, no connections, no power. And suddenly he's willing to burn the world down for you. Suddenly marriage and babies and forever are options. For you, not for me. That's not my fault. No, it's his. But you're the one who'll pay the price. She pulled out her phone. I could detonate those bombs right now. Kill him while he's frantically searching for explosives that aren't where he thinks they are. End it all. Please don't. Give me one reason why I shouldn't. I thought fast. Because killing him won't make him love you. It'll just prove he was right to reject you. Katerina froze. What? You're proving him right. He said you were cold, ambitious, incapable of real love. And look at you willing to murder him and his men because he chose someone else. You're exactly what he thought you were. Shut up. But if you let him go, if you walk away, you get to keep your dignity, your pride. You get to be the woman who was strong enough to lose with grace. I stood slowly. You can be the villain he thinks you are, or you can be better than that. Your choice. For a long moment, Katerina just stared at me. Then she started laughing. Not cruel laughter. Genuine, almost desperate laughter. You're good, she said. I see why he loves you. You're smart, brave, willing to walk into danger for him. She wiped her eyes. But you're also naive if you think a pretty speech will change my mind. Then what will? Nothing. Because I've spent too long planning this. Too much money. Too many years. She picked up her phone. The bombs detonate in 40 minutes. Domenico will search. He'll panic. He'll fail. And when he finally figures out it's a trap, it'll be too late. You're a monster. No, darling. I'm a woman who lost everything to love. There's a difference. She started to dial. I lunged for her, pulling Rosa's knife from my pocket. Katerina was faster. She twisted my wrist, and the knife clattered to the floor. Then she had her own knife at my throat. Nice try, she said. But I've been trained in combat since I was 8 years old. You're not walking out of here. The cold metal pressed against my skin. This was it. This was how I died. Wait. A voice from the doorway. We both turned. Gabriel stood there, beaten and bloody, hands tied behind his back. 2 of Katerina's guards holding him up. Gabriel? I gasped. Sorry, Peyton. She grabbed me 3 days ago. Been using me as bait. He looked at Katerina. You said if I helped you, you'd let me go. I lied. She didn't even look at him. Kill him. No! I screamed. The guards raised their guns, and then the windows exploded inward. Domenico came through the glass like an avenging angel, gun blazing, his men pouring in behind him. Katerina's guards went down in seconds. She stumbled backward, knife falling from her hand. Domenico's gun was pointed at her head before she could blink. Game over, he said. How did you find me? Katerina asked, genuinely shocked. You really thought I wouldn't have a tracker on Peyton? Domenico didn't lower the gun. The moment she left the safe house, I knew exactly where she was going. The bombs were never real. I had my tech team sweep the estate. Nothing. You were bluffing. His smile was cold. You're not as smart as you think you are, Katerina. I had everything planned. You had hope planned. Hope that I'd be stupid enough to fall for the same trick twice. but I've known you for 20 years. I know how you think. I know you'd never waste valuable explosives on a bluff when you could just threaten their existence and get the same result. Katerina's face crumpled. I loved you. No, you didn't. You loved the idea of me. The power I represented. The empire you could have controlled. But you never loved me. He stepped closer. And because of your obsession, you endangered the woman I actually love and the child she's carrying. My child. My future. I could have given you children. I didn't want children with you. I wanted nothing with you. I made that clear 15 years ago. The fact that you couldn't accept it isn't my problem. He gestured to his men. Take her. Lock her up. I'll decide what to do with her later. Wait. Katerina struggled against the guards. You can't do this. My family will. Your family disowned you 3 hours ago. Domenico pulled out his phone, showed her a document. When I told them what you'd done, the poisoning, the manipulation, the attempted murder, they cut all ties. You're alone, Katerina. No family, no allies, no power. Just a sad woman who couldn't handle rejection. The fight went out of her. The guards dragged her away. Domenico immediately turned to me, hands gentle as they checked me for injuries. Are you hurt? Did she? I'm fine. The baby's fine. But Gabriel? I looked around. Gabriel was on the floor, held up by 2 of Domenico's men. He looked terrible, beaten, malnourished, barely conscious. Get him medical attention, Domenico ordered. Why? I asked. After everything he did. Because he tried to warn you. At the end. He tried. Domenico's expression softened slightly. And because you have a kind heart, Bella. You'd regret it if we let him die. He was right. Thank you, I whispered. Always. The medics arrived and stabilized Gabriel. As they were loading him into an ambulance, he grabbed my hand. I'm sorry, he said, voice weak. For selling you. For everything. I was greedy and stupid and... I know. I squeezed his hand. Just focus on getting better. Katerina, she has more information. About your mother. He coughed. She paid her. Your mother. Paid her to give up information about you. Your grandmother's illness. Your financial situation. Everything Katerina knew. Came from your mom. The words hit like a physical blow. What? I'm sorry. I thought you should know. Before... He coughed again. Harder. Before I die. You're not dying, Domenico said firmly. We don't get off that easy. You're going to live, get better, and spend the rest of your life making better choices. Understood? Gabriel managed a weak nod before the medics took him away. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what he'd said. My mother had sold me out. My own mother had given Katerina the information she needed to destroy my life. For money. Peyton. Domenico's hand on my shoulder. Breathe. I realized I wasn't breathing. I sucked in air, but it felt like drowning. She sold me. My own mother sold me to that psychopath for money. I know. I found out 2 days ago. I was going to tell you after we dealt with Katerina. He pulled me into his arms. I'm sorry, Bella. I'm so sorry. How much? My voice sounded far away. How much did she get? $500,000. $500,000. The price of my mother's love. I laughed. Actually laughed. Because what else could I do? I was worth $500,000 to her. That's something, right? Peyton. No, it's fine. It's good to know. Good to know that my entire life, my struggles, my pain, it was all worth $500,000 to the woman who gave birth to me. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. I need to call her. Are you sure? I need to hear her say it. I dialed. She answered on the second ring. Peyton! I've been trying to reach you for days. Where are you? Sicily. With Domenico. Oh, her voice cooled. I heard about your situation. A baby with a criminal. Really, Peyton? Couldn't you have made better choices? Did you sell information about me to Katerina Lombardi? Silence. Then, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. Gabriel told me everything. You took $500,000 from her in exchange for details about my life. My grandmother's cancer, my financial desperation, everything. More silence. Then, quietly. So what if I did? The casual admission was somehow worse than an angry defense. How could you? How could I? Her voice turned sharp. You want to know how? Because you were going to waste your life anyway. Playing around with art degrees and poor choices. At least I got something out of it. At least someone benefited from your existence. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. And honestly, Peyton, you should be thanking me. If I hadn't given Katerina that information, you never would have ended up with your mafia king. So really, I did you a favor. A favor. Yes. You're welcome. She actually sounded proud. Now, about that money you're probably getting from him. I hung up. Then I blocked her number. Then I turned to Domenico and said, I don't have a mother anymore. Yes, you do. He touched my face. You have Rosa. You have Graham. You have me. You have a family who actually loves you. Biology doesn't make someone family. Love does. I broke down crying. He held me while I sobbed for the mother I'd never really had. For the relationship that had been a lie my entire life. For the little girl who'd tried so hard to make a woman love her who was incapable of it. I'm sorry, I kept saying. I'm sorry I'm crying. I should be stronger. You are strong. The strongest person I know. But even strong people get to grieve. He kissed my forehead. Grieve the mother you deserved, then let her go. You don't need her anymore. He was right. I didn't need her. I had everything I needed right here. We stayed in Sicily for another 3 days, while Domenico dealt with Katerina's allies and cleaned up her network. Graham flew in cancer, still in remission. Strong enough to travel because she wanted to meet this man who's making such a fuss over my grandbaby. The meeting happened in the villa's garden. Graham took one look at Domenico and said, You're taller than I expected. Yes, ma'am. And you got her pregnant. Yes, ma'am. And you plan to do right by her? Every day for the rest of my life, ma'am. Graham studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled. Good. Because if you hurt her, I'll haunt you from the grave. And I'm very good at haunting. Domenico actually smiled. I believe you would be, Mrs. Brooks. Miss Brooks. Never did marry Peyton's grandfather. Didn't need a man to make me whole. She winked at me. But this one? This one you should keep. I plan to, I said. That night, Domenico proposed. We were on the terrace overlooking the sea. The sun was setting, painting everything gold. He got down on one knee, pulled out a ring, his mother's ring, he told me later. Passed down through the Salvatore family for generations. Peyton Brooks, he said. You walked into my life by accident and became my purpose. You're carrying my son, my legacy, my future, and I will spend every day proving I deserve you. Marry me. Not because you have to, not because of the baby, but because you want to. Because you love me as much as I love you. Because we're better together than we ever could be apart. I was crying before he finished. Yes, I said. Yes, I'll marry you. He slid the ring on my finger, a perfect fit, like it had been made for me, and kissed me while Graham cheered and Rosa cried happy tears and his men pretended they weren't getting emotional. We set the wedding for 2 weeks later. Small ceremony, just family. Graham, Rosa, Domenico's closest men, and surprisingly, Nikolai Volkov, who'd insisted on attending. I want to make sure Salvatore actually goes through with it, he'd said with a grin. Besides, someone has to represent the Russian delegation. The wedding was perfect. I wore white, a simple dress that showed my growing belly proudly. 18 weeks now. Leo was the size of a bell pepper, according to Dr. Vitali. Domenico wore a tux and cried when he saw me walking down the aisle. The vows were short and honest. Domenico. I thought I knew what power was. What strength looked like, what mattered in this world. Then I met you, and you taught me that real power is vulnerability, real strength is love, and what matters is the family we build, not the empire. You're mine, Peyton, and I'm yours. Forever. Me. You saved me when I didn't know I needed saving. You loved me when I didn't think I deserved it. You showed me that monsters can be human and humans can be heroes. You're mine, Domenico Salvatore. And I'm never letting you go. In this life or the next. We kissed. Everyone cheered. And for the first time in my life, I felt complete. The night before we were supposed to fly back to New York, everything went wrong. I woke up at 2 a.m. to find Katerina in my room. She had a knife, and she looked absolutely insane. Hello, Peyton, she whispered. Miss me? I opened my mouth to scream, but she was on me too fast. Hand over my mouth, knife at my throat. One sound and I cut. Understand? I nodded. Good. We're going for a walk. She dragged me out of bed, through the villa, avoiding guards, cameras, everything. She'd planned this, mapped it out. We ended up in the wine cellar. Stone walls. No windows. No way for anyone to hear if I screamed. How did you escape? I asked. Money. Guards are easy to bribe when you promise enough of it. She smiled. I've been free for 2 days, watching, waiting, planning my revenge. Domenico will find me. Eventually. But by then it'll be too late. She pressed the knife against my stomach. I can't have Domenico, but I can make sure you can't either. I can take away what matters most to him. The baby. His heir. His legacy. His future. Her eyes were wild. If I can't give him children, neither can you. Please, tears streamed down my face. Please don't hurt my son. Your son, not ours. Just yours. The knife pressed harder. Maybe if you'd never existed, he would have learned to love me. Maybe. The door exploded open. Domenico stood there, gun raised, absolutely lethal. Step away from her, Katerina. Or what? You'll shoot me? Go ahead. The moment you pull that trigger, I drive this knife into her stomach. Your son dies either way. Domenico's hand didn't waver. You won't do it, won't I? No. Because you're not a killer. You're a manipulator. You get other people to do your dirty work. But you've never actually had the stomach for violence yourself. You don't know that. I know everything about you. I know you faint at the sight of blood. I know you couldn't even kill a spider without calling for help. I know that for all your planning and scheming, you're a coward. Katerina's hand started shaking. Put down the knife, Domenico said, voice gentler now. This doesn't end well for you. You know it doesn't, but you can choose how it ends. You can be the woman who walked away with her dignity, or the woman who died in a wine cellar because she couldn't let go. I loved you, she whispered. I know. But love isn't supposed to destroy people. Real love builds, protects, sacrifices. What you felt wasn't love. It was obsession. And obsession always ends in tragedy. The knife lowered slightly. I could have made you happy, Katerina said. No, you couldn't have. Because I didn't want to be made happy by you. I wanted to choose my own happiness. And I chose her. He looked at me. I will always choose her. The knife clattered to the floor. Katerina collapsed, sobbing. Domenico's men rushed in, secured her. He crossed to me immediately. Are you okay? Did she hurt you? The baby. We're fine. She didn't cut me. We're okay. He pulled me into his arms and held me so tight I could barely breathe. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you better. I should have had more guards. I should have... Stop. You saved us. That's what matters. I could have lost you. I could have lost everything, but you didn't. I pulled back to look at him. We're okay, all of us. He pressed his hand to my stomach, and I felt Leo kick. The first kick. Did you feel that? I gasped. I felt it. His smile was genuine, joyful. He's strong, like his father, like his mother. We stood there in that wine cellar, Katerina crying in the background, guards everywhere, absolute chaos. But in that moment, we were just a family. Domenico, me, and Leo. Perfect. Katerina was handed over to the Italian authorities. Between her confession, the evidence Domenico's team had gathered, and testimony from Gabriel, who was recovering in a hospital, she was facing decades in prison. Life sentence, probably. She'd lost everything. Her family, her freedom, her future. All because she couldn't accept that love couldn't be forced. The day we left Sicily, Domenico took me to his family's chapel, a small stone building that had stood for 400 years. This is where every Salvatore for 10 generations has been married, he said. But we didn't marry here. I know. We married in the villa, because I wanted something new, something that was just ours, not bound by tradition or expectation. He led me inside. But there's one tradition I do want to honor. He showed me a wall covered in names. Every Salvatore wife, carved into the stone. Dates of their marriages, dates of their deaths. A family tree in stone. I want to add your name, Domenico said. If you'll let me, I want everyone who comes here for the next 400 years to know that Peyton Brooks Salvatore was the one who changed everything, the woman who taught a monster how to be human. I traced the names with my fingers. Women who'd lived centuries ago. Women who'd built this legacy. I'd be honored. He pulled out a chisel and carefully carved my name. Peyton Brooks Salvatore, married 2024. Beloved wife, mother, queen. Queen? I asked. You're the queen of my empire, the mother of my heir, the love of my life. He set down the chisel. If that's not royalty, I don't know what is. He was right. I was royalty, not because of his money or power, but because I'd survived everything thrown at me and came out stronger. Because I'd chosen love over safety. Because I'd walked into a wrong room and found my right life. We returned to New York with Katerina behind bars and all threats neutralized. Life started to feel normal. Well, as normal as life could be when you were married to a mafia king and pregnant with his heir. 20 weeks brought our anatomy scan. Dr. Vitali confirmed. Healthy baby boy. All organs developing perfectly. No complications. Domenico cried when he saw Leo's face on the ultrasound screen. He has your nose, he said. He has your stubborn chin. Poor kid doesn't stand a chance with our combined genetics. But he was smiling when he said it. Graham moved into the estate permanently. Her cancer was still in remission, and she wanted to be there when Leo was born. She took over half the East Wing and turned it into what she called her art studio. Painting, sculpting, creating things she'd never had time for when she was raising me and working 3 jobs. This is my retirement, she said, and I'm loving every minute. She and Rosa became best friends. The two of them would spend hours in the kitchen, cooking together, sharing stories, laughing like they'd known each other for decades instead of weeks. I like her, Rosa told me one day. She reminds me of Domenico's grandmother. Strong, no nonsense, heart of gold under all that tough talk. She loves you too. I know, she told me. Then she told me if I ever let anything happen to you or that baby, she'd haunt me. That's Graham's love language. Gabriel recovered and was released from the hospital. Domenico offered him a choice. Leave New York and never come back, or work for the Salvatore family doing legitimate business. I'm trying to go more legal, Domenico explained. Transition the family operations into legitimate enterprises. Real estate, import, export, technology. I need people who understand business. You're smart when you're not being greedy. You could be useful. Gabriel took the job. I don't deserve this, he said. No, you don't. But Peyton has a kind heart, and she asked me to give you a second chance. Don't make me regret it. I won't, I swear. He kept his word. Started working in Domenico's real estate division, making good money legally, slowly rebuilding his reputation. He sent me flowers every week with a note that just said, "Thank you." I never responded. Some bridges, once burned, stay that way. But I appreciated the gesture. My mother tried to contact me once. A letter arrived at the estate. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Dear Peyton, I've been thinking about our last conversation. You were very harsh with me. I'm your mother. I deserve respect. I'm willing to forgive you for hanging up on me if you're willing to be reasonable about this situation. That baby you're carrying is my grandchild. I have a right to be in his life. Also, I've run into some financial difficulties. If you could loan me $100,000, I promise I'll pay you back. Love, Mom. I showed it to Domenico. He read it once, then set it on fire. Problem solved, he said. I didn't try to save it. Nikolai became an unexpected friend. He'd call every few weeks to check in, share intelligence about potential threats, and occasionally invite us to dinner when he was in New York. You're good for Salvatore, he told me during one dinner. I've never seen him this human. Is that a compliment? From a Russian? Yes, he smiled. Also, when the baby is born, I'm claiming godfather status. You want to be Leo's godfather? Someone has to teach him how to negotiate with scary Russians. Might as well be me. Domenico actually laughed. Fine, but if you teach my son any curse words in Russian before he's 5, we're having problems. No promises. It was strange how life worked. A month ago, Nikolai had been holding me at gunpoint. Now he was offering to be Leo's godfather. But stranger things had happened. I'd married a mafia king, after all. At 24 weeks, I started showing properly. Not just a little bump, a real, unmistakable pregnancy belly. Domenico was obsessed with it. He'd talk to Leo every night, hand on my stomach, telling him stories about the Salvatore family, about his mother, about the world he'd inherit. Your mother is the strongest woman I've ever known, he'd say. She walked into a bar one night and changed my entire life. And then she walked into a hospital room and gave me everything I didn't know I needed. You're going to love her. Everyone does. Stop making me cry, I'd say, wiping tears. Pregnancy hormones? Pregnancy hormones and the fact that you're being sweet. I'm never sweet. You're sweet to me. Only to you, Bella. Only ever to you. At 28 weeks, we did the nursery. Leo's room had been designed months ago, but now we were actually setting it up. Rosa organized everything. Graham painted a mural on one wall, stars and galaxies and worlds to explore. Domenico assembled the crib with his own hands, refusing to let anyone help. My son's crib, he said. I'm building it myself. It took him 6 hours and approximately 50 Italian curse words, but when it was done, it was perfect. We stood there together, looking at the room that would soon hold our son. Are you scared? I asked. Terrified, he admitted. What if I'm a terrible father? What if I mess him up? What if... You're going to be amazing. I know it. How? Because you love him already. Because you'd die for him. Because you're reading every parenting book you can find, even though you think I don't notice. He smiled sheepishly. You noticed. I noticed. And I love you for it. I love you too. More every day. I didn't know I could love like this. Then you came along and... He stopped. You saved me, Peyton. From becoming someone I didn't want to be. You gave me a reason to be better. We saved each other. Yeah, we did. At 32 weeks, the nightmares started. I'd wake up screaming, convinced Katerina was in the room with a knife. Domenico would hold me, remind me she was in prison, promise me we were safe. But the fear was irrational. Pregnancy hormones plus trauma equaled terror in the middle of the night. Want me to call Dr. Chen? He asked one night. The therapist? Maybe. Yeah. I think I need to talk to someone. There's no shame in that. I know. But I feel weak. You're not weak. You're processing trauma while growing a human. That's the opposite of weak. So I started therapy. Twice a week. Talking about everything that had happened. The betrayals. The fear. The manipulation. Dr. Chen helped me understand that what I'd experienced was psychological warfare. You were targeted by someone who knew exactly which buttons to push, she said. The fact that you survived with your sanity intact is remarkable. I don't always feel sane. Sanity is overrated. Resilience is what matters. And Peyton, you're one of the most resilient people I've ever worked with. Slowly, the nightmares decreased. Not gone completely, but manageable. At 36 weeks, I went into early labor. False alarm, Braxton Hicks contractions, Dr. Vitale said. But it scared us both. What if something's wrong? I asked, crying. Nothing's wrong. Your body is practicing. Preparing. Dr. Vitale checked the monitors. Baby's heartbeat is strong. You're both doing great. I want to meet him. Soon. Another month, give or take. I can't wait another month. Domenico squeezed my hand. Yes, you can. Because Leo needs more time to cook. And when he's ready, we'll meet him. Together. Together, I agreed. Leo decided to arrive at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, 3 days before his due date. I woke up to contractions that felt like my entire body was being split in half. Domenico, I gasped. It's time. He was awake instantly. You're sure? Water just broke. I'm sure. We'd planned for this. Bags were packed. Dr. Vitale was on call. The hospital had been selected a private facility where Domenico had basically bought out the entire maternity ward. But nothing prepares you for the reality of labor. The contractions came faster, harder. By the time we got to the hospital, I was in agony. Epidural, I begged. Please, epidural. Soon, the nurse promised. We need to check how dilated you are first. 4 centimeters. I needed to be at 10. 6 more centimeters of hell to go. Domenico stayed by my side the entire time. Held my hand through every contraction. Let me squeeze until I thought I'd break his fingers. Wiped sweat from my forehead. Told me I was doing great even when I was screaming that I wasn't. I can't do this. I sobbed at hour 8. Yes, you can. I can't. It hurts too much. I want to give up. You don't give up. You've never given up on anything in your life. He kissed my forehead. You walked into a bar and took a chance on a stranger. You agreed to carry a baby to save your grandmother. You survived kidnapping, betrayal, and a Russian mobster. You can do this. I know you can. What if something goes wrong? Nothing will go wrong. Dr. Vitale is the best. The hospital is ready, and I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. At hour 12, I was fully dilated. Time to push, Dr. Vitale said. I'd never been so exhausted and terrified in my life. But Domenico was there, holding my hand, counting through each push. You're doing amazing, Bella. I can see his head. Just a little more. One more push. Then another. Then a cry. The most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. It's a boy, Dr. Vitale announced, laughing. They placed him on my chest. Tiny. Perfect. Covered in vernix and blood and absolutely beautiful. Hi, Leo, I whispered. Hi, baby. We've been waiting for you. Domenico was crying. Actual tears streaming down his face. He's perfect. he said. You did it, Peyton. You did it. We did it. Leo opened his eyes dark like his father's and looked at me, and I fell in love harder than I'd ever fallen in anything. This was my son. Mine and Domenico's. Our miracle. Our future. Our everything. They cleaned Leo up, weighed him 7 pounds, 4 ounces, measured him 20 inches, and declared him healthy. Then they handed him to Domenico. I watched my husband, this dangerous, powerful man who'd killed people and built an empire, hold our son with shaking hands and absolute reverence. Hi, Leone, he whispered in Italian. I'm your papa. I've been waiting my whole life to meet you. Leo grabbed Domenico's finger, and just like that, I watched the most feared mafia king in New York completely melt. He's strong, Domenico said, voice thick with emotion. Like his parents. He has your nose, and your stubborn chin. Poor kid. But he was smiling when he said it. The next 3 days in the hospital were a blur. Nurses teaching us how to change diapers, how to swaddle, how to tell if he was hungry or just fussy. Graham visiting and crying happy tears while holding her great-grandson. Rosa bringing food because hospital food was an insult to Italian cuisine. Nikolai sending flowers with a card that said, Congratulations. The godfather role is still open, yes? And Domenico, never leaving our side. He slept in the chair next to my bed, helped with every diaper change, walked the halls with Leo when he was fussy at 2 a.m. You're a natural, I said one night. I'm terrified. Of what? That I'll mess him up, that I won't be a good enough father, that my past will catch up with us and hurt him. He looked down at Leo sleeping in his arms. He deserves better than me. He deserves exactly who he got. A father who loves him, who'll protect him, who'll teach him to be strong and kind and brave. I touched Domenico's face. You're going to be an amazing father. I know it. How? Because you already are. We brought Leo home on day 4. The estate had been transformed. Pink and blue balloons everywhere. Rosa's idea. A banner that said, Welcome home, Leone. Graham's idea. And every single one of Domenico's men lined up to meet the heir. It was surreal. These dangerous men, all bowing slightly as Domenico carried Leo past them. Don Leone, one of them said. It's an honor. Leo yawned. Everyone laughed. He's already unimpressed by formality, I said. Good kid. That night, the 3 of us slept in our bedroom. Leo in a bassinet next to the bed. Domenico on one side of me. Our family. Complete. Thank you, Domenico whispered in the dark. For what? For walking into that bar. For giving me a chance. For carrying my son. For loving me when I didn't deserve it. For everything. You do deserve it. And I'd do it all again. Every terrifying, impossible moment. Because it led us here. To this perfect moment. To this perfect life. Leo stirred, made a small sound. And Domenico was up immediately, checking on him, making sure he was okay. I watched my husband, my dangerous, possessive, absolutely devoted husband care for our son, and I knew. I knew that walking into the wrong hospital room had been the best mistake of my life. I knew that the accident that had brought us together was actually fate. I knew that love could bloom in the darkest places. And I knew that our story, messy and complicated and absolutely insane, was just beginning. Leo was 6 months old, hitting every milestone, and absolutely adored by everyone who met him. He had Domenico's dark eyes and my nose. His smile could light up a room, and he was already showing signs of his father's stubbornness. He definitely has your personality, I told Domenico one afternoon as Leo refused to eat his pureed vegetables. He has discerning taste. Those vegetables are garbage. They're organic sweet potatoes. They're orange mush. I wouldn't eat them either. Rosa walked in, took one look at the situation, and took over. Give him to me. You two don't know what you're doing. Within seconds, Leo was happily eating. How did you? 30 years of raising Salvatore men. You think you're the first stubborn baby I've handled? She smiled. He's testing you. Don't let him win. Good advice for parenting a future mafia king. I'd finished my thesis and graduated with honors. The university wanted me to pursue a PhD. Domenico wanted to fund my own art gallery. You could curate, he said. Choose the pieces. Host exhibitions. Do what you love. What I love is being Leo's mom right now. You can be both. I know. But for now, I just want this. I gestured to our life. You. Leo. Family dinners with Graham and Rosa. Simple things. Nothing about our life is simple, Bella. Fair point. Domenico had successfully transitioned most of his operations to legitimate business. Real estate, import, export, technology ventures. He still had enemies, still had to make hard choices, still lived in a world where violence was sometimes necessary. But he was trying to build something different for Leo. "I want him to have a choice," he said one night. "When he's old enough, I want him to be able to choose his own path, not be forced into this life the way I was." "You think he won't want the family business?" "I think he should have options. If he wants to be a Salvatore Don, fine. If he wants to be an artist like his mother, also fine. I just want him to choose." "You're a good father." "I'm trying." "You're succeeding." Graham's cancer was still in remission. She was healthy, happy, and spending her days painting and spoiling her great-grandson. "I prayed for years to live long enough to see you settled," she told me. "God gave me that and more. I got to see you fall in love, get married, and have a baby. I got to hold my great-grandson. That's more than most people get. Don't talk like you're going anywhere." "I'm not. Not yet. But when I do, I'll go knowing you're taken care of, that you're loved, that you're happy." She squeezed my hand. "That's all I ever wanted for you, baby girl." Katerina was serving 25 to life in an Italian prison. I'd heard from Isabel, who was working off her debt to Domenico by managing his real estate portfolio, that Katerina had tried to appeal her sentence. It was denied. She'd spend the rest of her life behind bars, paying for her obsession. I didn't feel triumph, just sadness that she'd wasted her life on hate. "Do you ever think about her?" I asked Domenico. "Sometimes. I wonder what she could have been if she'd chosen differently." "Do you regret how it ended?" "No. She made her choices. She has to live with them." He paused. "But I do think about the fact that I could have been kinder when I rejected her. Maybe if I'd explained better. This isn't your fault. You were clear. She just couldn't accept it." "I know. But still." We sat with that for a moment. Then Leo started crying, and we both jumped up to tend to him. Parenthood. The great distraction from philosophical musings about the past. Nikolai visited for Leo's half-birthday. Brought ridiculously expensive gifts, including a miniature Ferrari that Leo couldn't use for at least 15 years. "It's never too early to teach him about quality vehicles," Nikolai said with a straight face. "He's 6 months old." "Exactly. Plenty of time to develop good taste." Domenico just shook his head, but he was smiling. The three of us, me, Domenico, and Nikolai, had formed an unlikely friendship. Proof that enemies could become allies, that people could change, that the world was more complex than good and evil. 1 year after Leo's birth, we threw a party at the estate. Big celebration. Family and friends only. But that still meant 50 people. Graham was there, healthy and radiant. Rosa had cooked for days. Nikolai brought enough champagne to get everyone drunk twice over. Gabriel sent a gift, a children's book about second chances with a note, "Thank you for mine." And Leo, wearing a tiny suit that made him look like a miniature Domenico, charmed everyone. "He's going to be a heartbreaker," Graham said, holding him. "He's going to be a king," Domenico corrected. "Why not both?" I suggested. During the party, Domenico pulled me aside. "Come with me. I have something to show you." He led me to the library, our place, where we'd spent countless nights talking and planning and falling deeper in love. On the table was a book. Not just any book. A leather-bound journal. "What's this?" I asked. "Open it." I did. The first page had a photo of us from that first night. Someone had taken it at the bar, Domenico and I, sitting together, completely absorbed in each other. I hadn't known this photo existed. "How did you get this?" I tracked down every security camera from that night, found this one, had it enhanced. He smiled. "I wanted to remember the moment my life changed." The next pages were filled with our story. Photos from the hospital, from the estate, from Sicily, from our wedding, from Leo's birth. Every moment documented. Every chapter of our impossible love story preserved. "You made this?" "With Rosa's help. She's surprisingly good with scrapbooking." He turned to the last page, which was blank. "This page is for the future. For all the moments we haven't lived yet." "Like what?" "Like Leo's first day of school, his first girlfriend, his wedding, our 50th anniversary." He pulled me close, like growing old together and watching our grandchildren play in these gardens. Tears streamed down my face. "You see all that? That future? I see everything with you. Every moment, every possibility, every beautiful, complicated, perfect day." He wiped my tears. "You walked into the wrong room, Bella, and gave me the right life." "I love you," I whispered. "I love you more." "Impossible. Watch me prove it." We stood there, holding each other, while our son's laughter echoed from the party outside. This was my life now. Married to a mafia king, mother to his heir, living in a world I'd never imagined. But it was perfect. Messy and dangerous and absolutely perfect. Later that night, after everyone had left and Leo was asleep, Domenico and I stood on the terrace overlooking the ocean. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked. "Walking into that room? Agreeing to stay? Marrying me? Not for a second. Do you? My only regret is that I didn't find you sooner. We found each other when we were supposed to. You believe in fate now? I believe in us. And if fate is real, then yeah, we were meant to be." He kissed me as the stars came out, and the ocean sang its endless song. And I thought about everything we'd survived. The betrayals, the lies, the danger, the fear, and how none of it mattered now, because we'd made it through, together. "Thank you," I said against his lips. "For what?" "For chasing me, for saving me, for loving me even when it was complicated." "Loving you was never complicated, Bella. It was the easiest thing I've ever done." 5 years later, Leo was 6 years old, starting first grade, and already showing signs of being exactly like his father. Stubborn, brilliant, protective of the people he loved. We'd had a daughter 2 years after Leo, Isabella, named after Isabel, who'd redeemed herself by helping us find Katerina. Bella was 4, precocious, and had her father wrapped around her finger. "Daddy, can I have a pony?" she asked one morning. "Whatever you want, Principessa." "Domenico." "No," I said. "We are not getting a pony." "Why not?" "We have stables." "We have one stable. For show. We don't actually have horses." "We could." "No." Bella pouted. Domenico caved. "We got a pony." This was my life now. Arguing with a mafia king about ponies. Graham was 89. Still cancer-free. Still painting. "I think I'm going to live forever," she joked. "Just to annoy your mother." My mother had tried to reconnect once. When Leo was 2, I'd declined. Some bridges needed to stay burned. Domenico had fully transitioned the family business to legitimate operations. He was now a respected businessman. Still dangerous when necessary. Still commanding respect. But Leo wouldn't grow up the way he had. Wouldn't be forced into violence at 15. Our son would have choices. One night, after putting the kids to bed, Domenico found me in the library. "Reading our story?" he asked, seeing the journal open. "Always. It never gets old." He sat next to me, pulled me close. "Want to hear a secret?" "Always." I knew. That first night at the bar. The moment I saw you, I knew you'd change everything. You did not. I did. I looked at you and thought, that woman is going to ruin my life. He smiled. I was right. You ruined my old life and gave me a better one. You're getting sentimental in your old age. I'm 40. That's not old. Tell that to your gray hairs. He pulled me onto his lap. You gave me gray hairs, Bella. I regret nothing. Neither do I. We sat there, in the library where we'd spent countless nights, in the house that had become our home, in the life we'd built from chaos, and I thought about the girl I'd been, 26, desperate, alone, walking into a bar to forget her problems, meeting a stranger who'd become her husband, walking into the wrong hospital room, becoming an accidental surrogate, falling in love with the most dangerous man in New York, surviving impossible odds, building a family, finding her magic. Hey, Domenico said softly. Yeah? I love you. Just wanted to make sure you knew. I know. I love you too. Forever? Forever and always. And in that moment, in that library, with our children sleeping upstairs and our future stretching out before us, I knew. Some accidents are actually destiny in disguise. Some wrong turns lead to exactly where you're supposed to be. And some monsters are just men waiting for the right woman to show them how to be human. My name is Peyton Brooks Salvatore. I walked into the wrong room and found the right life. And I wouldn't change a single thing. They say fairy tales aren't real, that Prince Charming doesn't exist, that happy endings are fiction. But I'm living proof that sometimes, just sometimes, the universe gives you exactly what you need, even if it doesn't look anything like what you expected. My prince was a mafia king. My castle was bought with blood money. My happy ending came from walking into the wrong hospital room and waking up pregnant with a stranger's baby. Not exactly a Disney movie, but it's my story. And I love every messy, complicated, beautiful moment of it. To everyone watching, don't be afraid of wrong turns. Don't be afraid of accidents. Don't be afraid to take chances on strangers in bars, or say yes to impossible situations. Because sometimes the wrong room leads you exactly where you're supposed to be. Thank you for following our story. Now go write your own.